guys, welcome back. It's Josh with the Financial Advisor Car Guy. This week we're going to talk a little bit about extended warranties and the maintenance side of that. In fact, it's not really the warranty side, it's going to be the recall side. And the reason that this is a relevant topic this week is because my wife's Mach E has been at Ford now for, I want to say, 11 days for some recall work as well as a warranty issue. And so with that, we're going to dive right in. Ford is booked out a long ways. You can call any local dealership, and we called actually back in October. And I guess I'll preface this story with, we got a letter in the mail. And it said, hey, Mr. and Mrs., we've got a recall on your 2021 Mustang Mach E. So great, we call the dealer. Yeah, here's the deal. We'll get it fixed, but the parts are all back ordered, so call again later in the year, whatever it is. Well, we got a couple more follow-up letters, and eventually, just before Thanksgiving, we got a letter in the mail. I'm sorry. Just before Halloween. It was the latter part of October. And so we get this letter that basically says you have until, I think it was December 10th, to schedule a time to get these complimentary fixes done on your car. If you don't, it's no longer complimentary. I think there's a nominal fee. I'm not sure. Open recalls generally are repaired at the expense of the manufacturer. So I'm not sure exactly what the deal is with this, but we basically got a letter that said, get it into Ford ASAP. We're going to fix these problems. Great. So again, this is the end of October, and my wife calls the dealership that we bought the Mach E from. And they say, yeah, great, we can get you in, but we can't get you in until March. Well, great, that's October to March. That's like 5+ months. And, it seems like these recalls are kind of serious. Now, again, we didn't experience any of the side effects or the issues with them, so we weren't in any dire need to get in and do it, but we still felt like we should, especially with this final letter that said, it's no longer gonna be a completely free visit. So my wife says, okay, well, there's another dealership the other direction north of us. It's a little further away. It's like 30 minutes away instead of 20 minutes away. But we can call up there and see what they can do. Well, they could get us in. We told them about the letter. And they said, yeah, we actually have an appointment on something like December 9th. So we were going to get this handled before December 10th. Well, the long and short of it is we drop it off. In fact, she drives up there, drops it off in the morning. I follow behind her. I'm like an hour behind her because I had an appointment with a client. And so I get up there and I pick her up, and she gets in the car. We drive back and we're just chatting. In fact, we were driving the R8, and we're just kind of chatting about it. And the weather's turning. We've had some snow and we've had some rain and ice and all the things. And so I kind of made the comment to her. I'm like, it's kind of weird they didn't give us a rental or a loaner. But fortunately, we have like 1,000 cars, so we're fine. I'll just drive this. You can drive my pickup, and they can keep the Mach E for a couple of days. Great. Well, I think it was the next day. So this would have been like a Tuesday morning. I think Wednesday morning they call, and they basically says, okay, we've assessed the situation, and it turns out we don't have all the parts we need to fix your car. So at this point, we're kind of like, what in the world? I mean, really, we scheduled this appointment in October. They knew, based on the VIN number, based on the letter, they knew everything that was wrong with this car. Plus, it's an EV, so it has software updates. It communicates through the internet to Ford. I don't even use a key. I use my cell phone, right? So it's a very sophisticated car, and if it has an issue, it's going to tell Ford of that. So the dealership should have been able to put in the VIN and see all the issues with the car before we ever dropped it off. So I'm a little bit annoyed about that, but so be it, right? They'll keep the car a couple more days. No big deal. Well, they told my wife we should have the parts overnight, whatever. So we dropped it off Tuesday. They call Wednesday. We're gonna have the parts overnight or tomorrow, Thursday. We're gonna fix it. We'll call you by the end of Friday. You should be able to come and pick it up. Well, Friday comes and goes, and they never called. The weekend comes and goes. They never called. Monday, Tuesday, finally, Wednesday, they call her. Hey, listen, we're still not quite done. We're still waiting on a couple of things. We're going to need to keep the car until next week. What? You've had this car over a week. You've had plenty of time to diagnose any additional issues, anything at all that needs to be fixed, and you still need it. Wow. So now we're getting kind of frustrated. I mean, it's still not the end of the world. We do have another car, a couple other cars that we can drive in the meantime, but the fact of the matter is it's frustrating when Ford is booked out so far only to then pile up cars in their shop because they're not staying on top of the repairs and they're not getting the parts fast enough and, whatever else the situation is. It's frustrating. So with that in mind, moving forward, some of the repairs that this car, needs aren't really vital. I would say the one severity, the one that's the most dire, is that there's a part, this was a charging fault that happened early in the Mach E's production, and our car never experienced the symptoms, if you will. But basically, there's some sort of regulator or switch in the charging system. So if you use a high-speed charger, like if we're traveling and we use a high-speed charger, and then we immediately unplug, turn the car on, get on the highway, and accelerate extremely rapidly, there were instances of these cars melting connectors and potentially fires being started, and this was a real thing. So, they issued a recall, they issued a recall, and it didn't impact all the cars, but the problem kept persisting. And so what they ended up doing was even remedied cars. They thought it was a software thing. I'll go there. They thought it was a software thing. So they basically pushed to every car out there a software update. And for some reason, ours wouldn't do it over the air. So we ended up taking it to the local dealer, and they did keep it for a couple of hours, and they were able to force the car to download the update. But again, we never had the problem. We never experienced the symptoms. It wasn't a big deal. And so we just went about our lives. It was not a big problem. Well, then Ford continued to have this issue. And so they later said, okay, we need to actually replace a physical part in the charging system. And so they did for most vehicles that were faulty and whatever else. Well, ours was still, we never had any symptoms. So we just weren't in a rush. I don't know. There's not a lot of downtime in our lives. I feel like we're pretty busy people, and we work Monday through Friday, and the dealerships are closed on the weekend for the service department, and we can't necessarily just drop what we're doing to run a car to the dealer. It's an inconvenience. So we really weren't going to worry about it until we had to, and here it is. Now we had to. So we took the car. Now they've got it for 10, 11 days, and we're not even going to see it back until next week. So it's frustrating, and I've said that several times, but it is annoying. They should know better. And, then there's other little things, like this is the warranty work, not the recall. We had a warranty issue. The driver's seatbelt indicator was malfunctioning. And basically on the dashboard of the car, as people get in and they apply the weight to the seat and they click the seatbelt in, there's an indicator on the dash that tells you which seats are occupied and if the seatbelt is fastened or not. So the driver's seatbelt would chime if there was someone sitting in the seat, right? It would indicate that there was someone there, but then a message would flash that the seatbelt indicator had malfunctioned. So there was like a yellow exclamation mark on the driver's seat. And so you had to press a button to clear the code or clear the error off the screen and whatever else. And so that's a warranty thing. That's not a widespread issue. It's not a recall, but it's not something that should have failed at this point in the car's life. So they are going to fix that. And it could be, they weren't really transparent with my wife, but that could be the part that they had to order. I don't know. But nonetheless, they're waiting on something, or parts in general. Another one of the recalls was actually for paint failing below the door, something like that. My wife knows the details. Our paint is fine. We actually have a clear, PPF or whatever it is on there. And so, the paint protective film will keep the paint from failing. So part of me is wondering if they're gonna paint something, that means they're gonna take that film off. I'd rather they not. So, I don't really know what to expect. At the end of the day, it's my wife's car, and I want her to be happy with it. I want her to do what makes her feel good about it. And if it's having all these recalls and warranty work done, great. It should drive like a brand new car again. It should feel like a brand new car again. The seatbelts should chime correctly. All the things should work perfectly. And we shouldn't have any issues. It's like still a brand new car. We just rolled 30,000 miles on it, and we've had it not 3 years. So it'll be 3 years in about a month and a half. And so we're driving at 10,000 miles a year, and we've taken some road trips in it. So, you know, I mean, we don't drive that much. It's not something that's getting a ton of miles. And so, I mean, we'll have it 10 years before we hit the 100,000 mile mark. I don't think we're gonna drive more moving forward. I feel like if nothing else, it's less. Because pretty soon, you know, my daughter's gonna be driving her car, and she's gonna be driving my son around because, you know, she's gonna wanna be driving. So less miles on our cars, and that's fine, all the things. So really, again, that's all I got for you guys this week. I just wanted to talk about the process. You know, again, with Ford right now, things are so backed up. Make sure you're scheduling early, and I would suggest you be really, really clear about what your expectations are. You know, hey, if you don't have the parts, please, 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 don't let me bring my car in. You know, I mean, really, we could have been driving it around for these 2 weeks, and that would have saved a little bit of headache, because there was a couple of days where there was snow on the ground and it was icy. And even though this thing is all-wheel drive, the clearance is like that. I'm not gonna drive it on snow, and the tires aren't good. I mean, you can kind of see these tires right up here. Those are a brand new set for this car. It's got only a couple thousand miles on it, and there's meat on the tire, but there's not good traction. The tread is like slick. So I don't think that's an ideal situation either. So anyway, the long and short of it is I can't really drive this in the snow, even though it's all-wheel drive. It's got fine traction on asphalt, but the moment there's gravel down on the road, I don't want to drive it. I don't want rock chips. I don't want my window to break. I don't want any of those things. I don't, you know, so I don't want to drive it, but I will if I have to. I'd rather not. So I'd rather not leave my car at the dealership for 2 weeks and then still not have the parts. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Stay tuned for next week, but most importantly, remember, may every investment you make be a good one. Till next time.